All right, we are about to dive into a truly mind-bending idea. The deep, deep connection between light, the very fabric of our physical world, and, you guessed it, the nature of our own consciousness. So let's just kick things off with a question that really frames this whole journey. What is the connection between the light from a distant star and the light inside your own mind? Now I know, it sounds like poetry, right? But as you're about to see, modern science is starting to treat this as a very, very real question. You know, for centuries, there's been this massive divide. On one side, you've got the classic scientific view: light is just a photon you measure, matter is a particle you weigh. Simple. On the other side, you have the mystical view: light is the very stuff of consciousness, and matter is just spirit made visible. For the longest time, these two ideas were on totally different planets. But today, we're going to explore how quantum physics is actually building a stunning bridge between them. Okay, so our journey has to start with physics. We're zooming right into the fabric of reality itself to explore an idea that basically flips our whole concept of solid stuff completely on its head. Just let this one sink in for a second. The legendary physicist David Bohm said matter is frozen light. And he didn't mean that as some pretty metaphor. No, this is a radical rethinking of what the physical world actually is. And this table here really shows you the jump. You know, old school physics saw matter as these little, solid billiard balls that had to actually touch to interact. But the quantum view, it sees matter as frozen light. It's trapped energy. And this means that, at its very core, the universe isn't really made of things at all, but it's this dynamic process where everything is interconnected in a non-local way. That means things can be linked instantly, no matter how far apart they are. The fundamental unit isn't the atom anymore, it's the photon. And the photon is the key. It's the universe's messenger. Think about this. Because it travels at the speed of light, from its own point of view, time and distance literally don't exist. Everything is right here, right now. It's instantaneous. This little particle is the physical basis for that wild idea of non-local connection, that immediate link that spans the entire cosmos. Okay, so let's move from the cosmic to the biological. If matter is just frozen light, then how does this light kinda wake up inside living things? How do our bodies actually communicate with it? Well, the answer might be something called biophotons. Now, what are those? They're these incredibly faint laser-like flashes of light that are emitted by all living cells. And you can think of it like a cellular internet. This isn't just random light either. It's a coherent, organized internal network that helps regulate and structure life itself. It really suggests that our bodies aren't just chemical factories. They're also orchestrated by a field of light. And if you want proof that nature is already a quantum master, just look at a leaf. Photosynthesis is incredible. See, when a photon hits a leaf, its energy doesn't just bounce around hoping to find the right spot. No way. It travels as a quantum wave, which means it explores all possible paths simultaneously to find the most efficient route to the reaction center, and it does it instantly. It's a quantum masterpiece, and it proves life figured out how to use these weird quantum tricks. So, if a plant can do that for energy, what could our brains be doing with it for information? And that question brings us to the ultimate mystery, doesn't it? The human brain. We're now narrowing our focus to ask the big one. Could your brain literally be a kind of optical computer, with consciousness itself being a phenomenon of light? So let's talk about the leading scientific theory that tackles this head-on. It's called orchestrated objective reduction, or OR for short. It was developed by the absolutely brilliant mathematical physicist Sir Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff. So how does it work? Let me break it down. First, inside our neurons, we have these tiny structures called microtubules, and the theory says they act like quantum computers. Second, proteins inside these tubes enter a quantum state of superposition, meaning they exist in multiple possibilities all at once. Third, these quantum states link up across tons of neurons, creating this huge, unified quantum field. And finally, and this is the magic moment, that whole field collapses into one single definite state. Penrose argues that this collapse is a moment of proto-consciousness, a single, discrete flash of actual experience. Now, I know that sounds super abstract, but here's where it becomes real. The OR theory actually predicts that these super-fast quantum vibrations inside the microtubules would create slower beat frequencies. And get this, what frequency does the math predict? Around 40 hertz. And what's so special about 40 hertz? It's the exact frequency of gamma waves in the brain waves that are directly linked to high-level concentration, focus, and consciousness. This is a potential measurable connection between the quantum world and our own experience.
Okay, let's zoom back out and try to bring all of this together. We've seen how cutting-edge science is pointing toward light as this fundamental medium for everything. But what's truly fascinating is that these aren't entirely new ideas. In a way, they're a modern rediscovery of some very ancient wisdom.
Just look at these parallels. It's incredible. On the left, you've got terms from a 12th century philosopher named Suherardi. On the right, they're modern scientific counterparts. Suherardi's light of lights, that's basically what physics today might call the zero-point field, the fundamental energy of the universe. His victorial lights map almost perfectly to our fundamental forces. The regent light, the light of the self, that sounds a lot like the biophoton field we just talked about. And Barzakh, his term for matter, well, that's what David Bohm called frozen light. The parallels are just stunning. So, the crucial point, the whole thesis of this entire explainer really boils down to this one simple idea. The photon is the bridge. It's the thing that connects the world of matter with the world of mind. And this just lays it out perfectly. We're looking at a whole new definition here. Matter isn't separate from mind. It's frozen light. It's the stable structure, the memory of the universe. And the mind? That's coherent light. It's the dynamic process, the flow of information. They're not two different things. They're just two different states of the very same fundamental substance. And maybe this is exactly why that same 12th century philosopher, Suherardi, wrote, "Light, in and of itself, is not in need of any definition. It is self-evident." He seemed to understand that the ultimate reality of light isn't something you just grasp with your intellect. It's something you have to directly experience. So we'll leave you with this final thought to carry with you. If our best physics, our biology, and our deepest spiritual traditions are all pointing to the exact same truth, if we are in a very real, literal sense, beings of light, then the only question left is, what message are we here to transmit?